This one I got for free, and this big boy I got for free. So can you. Let me tell you how. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. In this video, I'll be sharing my top 5 plants to give your tropical garden winter interest and winter structure. Now, these are all plants that can be bought on a budget from your local garden centre. No specialist nurseries required. And if you stick around until the end of the video, I'll tell you how you can get some of these for free, like I did. Let's get into it. So first things first, what do we mean by winter structure or winter interest? Well, in a tropical garden, it's easy to make it look good in the summer months, but come winter, a lot of things die back. For example, this sorry looking stick here is a Paulownia tomentosa, the foxglove tree. In summer, it's one of the stars of the show with huge leaves, but it looks a bit rubbish in winter. So we need plants that are going to look interesting 365 days of the year. Okay, number 1 on my list is the Fatsia japonica, the good old Fatsia japonica. This thing is bulletproof. It will take any cold you throw at it. And as you can see from mine, it's just finished flowering. These are the flower spikes, and beneath the flower spikes are the growth points for next year's growth. So this thing puts on a lot of height each year. There'll be 1 foot to 2 foot of extra height next year. When it's planted in shade, it's deep green, dark green. However, put it in more full sun, it's a different shade of green, a little bit lighter. And I've got a couple of these spread around the garden. Now, this big one here cost me about £20 a year and a half ago. It was tiny, and it's put on a lot of growth since then. So these kind of things are budget plants that you can pick up anywhere. Local garden centres have them, B&Q, etc. And they do grow fairly big. You can see underneath it's got some woody stems, and it will create quite a tall shrub in a couple of years. This is a must-have for your exotic garden or your tropical garden, the Fatsia japonica. Plant number 2, good old bamboo. Any bamboo will do. This bamboo is one that you'll probably see if you go to a garden centre. It's a Fargesia rufa. It's nothing to write home about. Doesn't have amazing looking canes like some other types of bamboo. However, it does the job. It fills a space, and it stays like that all year round. It also puts on a lot of growth. If you look under here, you can see the thicker looking culms and canes that are coming through compared to the middle. Now, it's not going to be something that you're going to be looking at and thinking it looks amazing, but it does its job. This one, again, for a small plant, £20 I think I paid for this one, and it's shot up in a couple of years, and I've managed to divide it, and I've got about 4 or 5 of these now dotted around the garden. So plant number 2, any bamboo, but if you're looking at one on a budget, go for Fargesia rufa. It's clumping as well, so it won't run. On to plant number 3, this beauty here, the good old Trachycarpus fortunei, the hardy palm tree, Chusan palm, or the Chinese windmill palm. Lots of names for it, but if you go to your local garden centre and you're looking at palm trees, this is the one you will see. Now, this is quite a mature one, but of course I've got a few dotted around the garden. Here's a smaller one with only a tiny trunk on it. And this one was, I think, £20 last year. I've got a third one in the garden over here. A double trunked one. Now this one I managed to get from another garden centre. It was £45, and I think that was a bit of a bargain. So my tip for you would be to shop around, look around at different garden centres. A garden centre that's sort of got a cafe in it and it sells gifts and other things beyond what a garden centre sells, you're going to be paying a bit more. This one over here I found in one of those garden centres that just sells plants, and it does what it says on the tin. So shop around, but you can find bargains. And the main thing for me is, if you've got the budget, you might go for something like this for instant impact. But if you don't have the budget, you've got to have patience. And for me, I would rather spend less on plants and have patience. This thing's going to be amazing in a few years, and until then, it looks interesting. Look at the leaf shape next to the Fatsia. So that's plant number 3, the Trachycarpus fortunei. You can't have a tropical garden in the UK without a trachy. Plant number 4 is the Phormium, or the New Zealand flax. Now this is a big boy. This one is huge, but you don't need to buy one this big. You can buy a small one. Again, every garden centre has them in various colours, shapes and sizes, but this thing is indestructible. It will take any weather, any sort of temperatures, and it will look good all year round. Now I've tied mine up a little bit because I do like it looking a little bit taller and narrower, but of course these things spread once they get large, and then you can divide them. You take a saw or a spade and you can chop them in half and they will bounce back. So again, if you're looking for an evergreen plant that looks good all year round, you can't go wrong with the Phormium for a little bit of winter interest. And plant number 5, believe it or not, is a good old Eucalyptus. Eucalyptus gunnii, or gunnii, is the one that you'll probably see in garden centres. Now this thing, believe it or not, is absolutely huge, but I did bring this home in the car as a small tree, maybe to the top of the fence, and it was £20. And I have got 3 of them in the garden. One here, smaller one, and then this one, the twisted one, and this one came in a 2-litre pot about 2 years ago, and I've cut it back hard as well so it doesn't hit the pergola, and again it's huge. Now the trick with these is, if you want a tree, it will give you a tree, a fairly mature one, in only a couple of years. They are very fast growing and drought tolerant. You don't have to do anything to them. But if you want a little bit of lower level winter interest, you can cut it back hard. They like being pollarded or coppiced, and they will come back with vigour in spring. So I could chop this down to the base here in about February or March, and it'll produce new shoots, and it will definitely get to the top of the fence or higher in the same year. And what people enjoy about this is the younger leaves that are more oval shaped and rounded. When it gets more mature, they're a little bit more elongated, the leaves. So for that winter interest, you can't beat a eucalyptus. You might not think of it as a jungle plant or a tropical plant because it is drought tolerant, but I think it looks fantastic and it gives interest. And the main thing for me to remember is that a tropical garden doesn't mean only tropical plants. It just means things that look tropical. You know, going back to the Fatsia, it looks like a tropical plant, but it's definitely not. Where it grows in habitat, it can get quite cold. It's hardy. The Trachycarpus looks like a tropical plant, but it's not. It can take all sorts of cold and ice and frost. So that's number 5, the eucalyptus. Recap. Eucalyptus, Fatsia, bamboo, Fargesia rufa, Trachycarpus, Phormium over there. My top 5 plants to give winter interest or winter structure in a tropical garden. Drop me a comment below and tell me what I've missed. What would you put in your top 5? What did I miss from my top 5? At the start of the video, I told you that I would share how you can get these plants potentially for free, like I did. So here we go. Plant number 1 that I got free, this large Trachycarpus. Plant number 2 that I got free, this huge Phormium. And the way that I did it is I spoke to friends, I told friends, I'm building a tropical garden. I'm thinking of making a tropical garden. Does anyone have any plants that they don't want? I actually spotted these 2 in a friend's garden who was redoing their garden, and I said, oh, would you mind if I had them? And they gave me them for free. So I dug them out myself, brought them home in the car. What you have to remember is that for these kind of plants, They're a little bit like Marmite. You either love them or hate them. Some people are not into them, and some people are indifferent and ambivalent about the plants. There's no harm in asking friends or family or even neighbours. Get on your local Facebook group, get on the Nextdoor app and put it out there. I'm looking for any palm trees or any tropical looking plants. Another thing I've done is I've been on Google Street View, had a look around my local area. Can I see anything in front gardens that might be of interest? And there's no harm in asking. They could always say no, but they might say yes. So this big boy here and my big trachy, I saved definitely a couple of £100 on that just by a friend wanting to get rid and me offering to go up with a spade, dig it out and carry it back. It was very heavy, very difficult to manoeuvre into the car on my own, but worth the effort. And if you haven't got any friends who can do that, go back to the budget options. And you just got to have patience. So there you go. Free plants, free mature plants. Okay, that's it from me for now. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and turn the notification bell on so you know every time I post a new video. Thank you very much. This is it from the Great Northern Exotic Garden. See you next time.